Let's find the volume of a cone. Do some calculations here. Now, first, let's remember that a cone has one circular base. So remember that in a circle, the diameter is the full length across, or if you just go from the center to one side, that's the radius. So the radius, 2 of the radius equals the diameter, or a radius equals 1/2 of the diameter, depending on what you're given. Now, the volume of that cone, we can find the volume by taking 1/3 times the height of the cone times the area of the base. And we know that the base is a circle. So to find the area of the base, we take pi r squared. So we would say the volume is 1/3 times the height times pi r squared. So because we're dealing with pi, you might have an exact value, leaving the pi symbol, or you can round to decimal places by using 3.14 for pi. So we're going to find the volume to 2 decimal places. So we're going to estimate here. You'll notice that we know the radius is 6 because the center to a side, and we know the height is 14. I highly recommend you just write down what you know. It makes life just a little bit easier. So the volume again is 1/3 times the height times pi r squared. Let's plug in what we know. So I have 1/3. I know the height is 14. I've got pi, and my radius is 6, so 6 squared. Let's go ahead and do order of operations, which means I'm going to do that exponent first. So 6 squared is 36. So I have 1/3 times 14 times 36. I'm just going to put pi at the end. Because we're multiplying these all together, multiplication is commutative, so I can move these around. And then I'm going to do my numbers. I'm just going to do these 3 first. This is the same as taking 14 times 36 and then dividing by 3. Either way, you end up with 168. So we're going to end up with 168 pi. That's an exact answer, which is not what I want. I want to round to 2 decimal places. So I'm going to take 168 and I'm going to multiply by 3.14, and I end up with a volume of 527.52 inches cubed. Because we're finding volume. Volume is filling up the cone. So if you have an ice cream cone, right, one of those beautiful waffle cones, and you fill it with ice cream, that is volume. All right, let's do another one. You'll notice this is an oblique cone because the height is outside. All right, so we're going to find the volume. Fun that an oblique cone, the volume is found the same way. We take the radius, which is 8, because we know the diameter is 16 and the radius is half of that, and we know that the height is 18. So we go ahead and find the volume. All right, so we've recognized the radius and the height, and now we just need to use our formula. So we know that our formula is volume equals 1/3 times the height times pi r squared. So let's plug in what we know. 1/3 times the height of 18 times pi times the radius squared. Again, order of operations. So 8 squared is 64. So 1/3 times 18 times 64 times pi. I'm a huge fan of doing the numbers first and then doing pi at the end. So we're going to take 18 times 64 and divide by 3. This comes out nicely, and we end up with 384 pi. But again, the directions say round to 2 decimal places. So we're going to take 384 and we're going to multiply by 3.14 to get a volume of 1,205 and 76/100ths. And that is in inches cubed, because volume is always cubic inches.